Well, I got Rocky back here. I had to carry him back. Yeah, that just took everything out of me. Between the wood pile over there and chasing Rocky, having to go into the woods and get him and everything, I'm completely drained. I can feel the weight of my body. So I guess I won't be doing any more work on the wood pile right now. I did make some good progress with it. I'll go back at it later if I feel up to it. I might, but I have a feeling I'm done for the day, but maybe I'll get a second wind this evening or something and do a little bit more. If I do, I will. This happens to me sometimes. It's like my battery just drains. I know I have a heart condition, but it's never been followed up on because the drugs that they had me on for so many years, they wreck your heart and they wreck your liver. They do both of those things. And, you know, the medical profession, I had one doctor who didn't know who I was, hadn't seen my medical records, hooked me up to an electrocardiogram one time, and he told me I have an issue with my heart, and he wanted for there to be tests to be ran. It was a doctor in the emergency ward. That was never followed up on because, you know, they don't want to follow up on that. That's all, because that, you know, the medical profession caused the issue, most likely. They most likely did with malpractice and the drugs that they gave me when I was a kid were for experimental purposes and all that. And so what happens to me though is it's just like the battery gets run down. And I get that I can't, you know. And so when Rocky does something like that, I understand that he's just being a cat. And I don't blame him. But at the same time, I do get frustrated. And the reason that I don't let him go into the woods, I've said this before, but in case anybody doesn't know and they see the other videos, and they think I'm kind of an asshat for not letting him into the woods, or they think I'm abusing him or whatever. The reason I don't let him go into the woods is because of the fishers. We have fishers around here. If you don't know what a fisher is, you can look it up. You can Google it or whatever, and you'll see. And a fisher will get up into a tree, and it'll jump down onto its victim. And what it does is it'll decapitate the animal, and it'll drink the blood. And that's how I lost my cat, Muella, who was actually Rocky's sister from the same litter. The second day I was here, Muella was killed by a fisher, and she's buried back there between the tent and the camper and kind of behind there. And she's buried not too within sight of where she was killed. So that's the reason anyway that I don't let Rocky go back in the woods. We have these things in the woods. We didn't have these things in the 70s and 80s, but the government released them into the woods because the government said they belong there. And so now we have them. And it is what it is, but it would just hurt me terribly if I lost Rocky. I do love Rocky. It may seem sometimes like I'm abusive or like I don't love him when I get mad at him and, you know, and stuff like that. Like that last video I posted of me carrying him out of the woods, I sincerely question whether I should post that, but I did. Well, I thought he was in here. He might be under the bed, actually. I'll leave him be if he is. But he goes under there sometimes. But because I'm afraid that it'll be taken as that I'm mean or abusive or whatever. But then I've kind of committed to being honest through this process and showing things as they really are, even if I do look bad. And so if I look bad, I look bad. But I'm doing it for what I believe are the right reasons. And like I say, if I look like an asshole while I'm doing it, well, then I look like an asshole. That's all. I'll just have to deal with that and accept it. But, of course, people are entitled to think that if that's the impression they get. But anyway, from my point of view, at least, I have legitimate reason for being the way I am when it comes to Rocky and the woods. I would love to just let him go and run in the woods, you know. I'd love to be able to do that. But I just don't feel like I'm able to, that's all. Not given what's back there and given what happened to his sister and so on. You know, And I can tell you right now, losing that cat, even thinking about it, just sends me into a terrible, I mean, well, I can't even describe it. What that would do to me. And maybe that's selfish of me, but again, I'm portraying reality here.